As a car enthusiast, I always think about what car I would have if I had a family, and I'd want it to be something really fun. So today I've collated 5 different cars that you could purchase if you do have a family, but you also want something pretty quick and fun to maybe take to a show, maybe modify. And this is where I have chosen these 5 choices, which are powerful and fun. So let's jump straight into today's video. Hey guys, it's Cars with Ben, and in today's video I'm going to talk about 5 fast family cars that you can consider if you have a family. At number 5 we have the Vauxhall Sofia VXR. The Vauxhall Sofia VXR was released well back in 2005-6, and it was a car that really just was different from anything else that we'd had before. Now, we had VXRs prior to this, and they were a lot of fun, but Vauxhall went completely mental and made a Vauxhall Zafira VXR. Now, this was originally, when new, £25,000, which was very expensive for what was effectively a family car. Now, these are pretty much worth just under 5k, but they are sometimes a bit more than that. I've seen some for 6 or 7k. What's great about these is they had a 240 horsepower turbocharged engine, and it carries up to 7 people. So what more could you want? It's fast and fun. Although there are some cons to this car, which I will discuss right now. And the fact is, it's expensive to run. And I don't think all families will appreciate its performance. Given that it's now 15 years old, it's not really the best car to be driving around in. It also lacks that finesse, which a lot of people have wrote on Parkers. Now, it isn't particularly stylish either. It's still a Vauxhall Zafira, but it is the craziest MPV you can buy. At number 2 is probably one of my favourite cars on the list, and it's the Volkswagen Passat R36. Now, this car is a bit unusual because I will admit it is more of an import car, and I will go on to talk about this in a minute. But this car is really, really popular and awesome and well respected in the Volkswagen scene because it's a Passat. It's not a Golf, and that's the most important thing. It's not this car here, which is the Golf Estate, which you can buy in the UK. The R36 was a bit of a different car and a bit of a rarity, really. But if you are able to find one, they aren't badly priced at all nowadays, considering they used to be almost £30,000 new back in 2009. They also look really stylish, and I almost think they look better than the Golf now because it's still the Passat and it's got those good looks. It's also got the same interior as the Passat, and here I found one for just under £9,000, which really for a family car isn't too bad for the power you're getting, which by the way is a lot of power in the Passat, giving you probably just under 300 horsepower, so a pretty good range there. Now, these are also 5.6 seconds to 60, so they are not slow at all, and it's an estate. So estate cars are probably some of my favourite family cars you can buy out there. You'll probably smoke quite a lot of cars out there with this car, but just bear in mind it is an import, and it's fairly hard to find some of these. There was only up to 10 on Auto Trader that I found when looking, and it's definitely something that I prefer when it's modified, looking like this. It's just not the same as the Golf, and the Golf is going to be more expensive anyway, so you're probably better off looking at possibly Passats, even though they are pretty cool Golfs. In fairness, only 100 or so Passat R36s were made, so they are that rare of the level we're talking here. Up next is a car I think you guys will probably appreciate. Now, as a car enthusiast, I love a Volvo, and it is no different here. I've gone for the V50 T5 or the V50 R. Now, some of them you might see of these, they were created from almost 2003 to 2008, almost 9, and they facelifted over the years. But for me, this is one of my favourite cars Volvo ever made, and it's just a sensible version. It's a really cool daily car as well, and it looks good depending on the model you go for. So in Europe, we have the V50 R, and in America, they have the T5, but there are a lot of choices to be had for the price and really, really good, reliable cars. Here's one for £5,690, and that's an '08 version, and it still is a sporty looking car with really sensible interior. Now, it's not the fastest of vehicles, and it's definitely not the most attractive, but it just is sensible. It's a Volvo, and it comes with almost 220 horsepower from these T5s or V50s, so that's not bad at all for a pretty small family estate, which I think will be appreciated. Now, the annual road tax of these is a shame because it is £300, which I can't really work out why, but you are getting the top spec version, so that might put people off in terms of families who might be trying to save money. although the acceleration for this is also 7 seconds, so not bad at all there. Used prices really are in the £2,000 to £5,000 range, so very, very cheap for the most part of this car. And it's the only Swedish option I've got on this list, and you don't really get to talk about Volvos very much, so I really do love talking about a Volvo, as you know, and I love especially a V50R. Up next is the taxi driver's favourite car. It is the Skoda Octavia VRS. Now, this one can be from the 2005 to all the way to 2010. It's the model year I'm looking at, and these are really cheap now because most of them have a lot of high mileage. But the VRS is the one you want to look at. This is a pretty much awesome lowered suspension, 2-litre engine, comparable to the Volkswagen GTI, and it has 170 horsepower. Now, Skoda Octavias are well known for their build quality and just lasting forever, so you know that you're going to have a pretty good one with these. Here I found one for £5,500, and I believe it only had 100,000 miles on it on that particular one. But the VRS is just so good because it's got a fantastic value for money. It has hot hatch ability with family practical car and a TDI engine, so it's pretty much going to last a very long time, and that's why taxi drivers use them. When this was new, it had a price tag of 18 to 23k, so really it's a very expensive car when it came out for an estate, and typically road tax for a family you're probably looking at about 170 to up to 250 with these VRSs, depending on the model year and so on. They're definitely worth considering because they are very quick family cars and very, very, very popular to drive, a lot of fun, and it's also in blue, so you can't really go wrong with that. Just watch out for the model years on these ones though, because I know some of them, depending on their age, like this one here, can be varied in their engine and mileage. So obviously if it's older, you're going to have a bit more maintenance, so maybe go for a new one if that's your budget for the family. Up next is definitely the most bonkers version on this list, and you'd have to be a pretty crazy person to buy one. It is the Porsche Cayenne from 2003 and the updated version of the face model, which is 2008. Now, these cars are no more than 8 or 9 grand, and even the cheapest ones you can get for about 2 or 3 from the earlier models. So that's not too bad considering it was, a £45,000 car when it was new for the most part. Here's one for just under £5,000. Not too many miles, but not too little as well. So it's a fairly reasonable price, or you can go for the updated version for just over just under £8,500. So not too bad for a Porsche and a big car at that. Now, these cars came with 340 horsepower, 6.66 seconds to 60, and a pretty terrible annual road tax for the UK, let's be honest. But if you have enough money, you've got that boot space, you've got the 5 seats. Now, it's not as good as the Zafira, granted, and it's going to cost you more in maintenance, but it is a Porsche. So if you want something a bit more luxury, you could go for this, which is a little bit different because it's still really a family car that you can get your kids around in, and it's pretty much the footballer's ultimate car for getting around it with that 4.5 litre V8 engine. It is crazy to have such a big car and engine. I think when this came out as well for the Cayenne, it was very much hated because people did not want this. But, big SUVs, especially sporty SUVs, have grown on people over the last few years, decade, let's say. And obviously, the bigger Cayenne and newer Cayenne are now pretty much way too expensive. So the 3.6 litre V6 in this should be pretty good to go. Obviously, bear in mind Porsche maintenance, which is hugely expensive. So that's why I put it last on this list. But there you go. If you want an original Cayenne or even the face model version, which looks a little bit better than the uglier version, that's your choices with the big Porsche SUV. The perfect car to take your family around in the cheapest Porsche. Hey guys, thanks for watching another Cars with Ben installment. I hope you enjoyed the videos. Now, you might notice I actually do these in 5s, so 5s or 6s, so I typically make the videos that way. It's just easier for me to do. But if you do like the content, do leave a like, comment, subscribe, and just let me know you've done so down below, because we're growing and the channel of car content and information is getting bigger every week, and I'm trying to make weekly car content all the time. So thank you so much for the support. It's been great this year, and I'm going to carry on making so much more different content going forward.